thank you all for coming out tonight. It looks like the weather is going to hold off, so we'll get through this without any rain, hopefully. My name is Chris Kell. I'm the president of the Tell City Historical Society and a member of the Schweitzer Fest Committee. I have on stage with me some of the board members of the Tell City Historical Society. Please stand as I call your name. We have Phil Whitmer, Vice President, Sherry Taylor, Treasurer, Dr. Joe LeClaire, Secretary, Jean Borders, Mark Oberhausen, Bill Simpson, Tony Collion, and Barbara Lautner. Now, a few things I'm going to go over real quick. The previous Distinguished Citizen Award winners started back in 1971, and I'm going to go through the previous winners' names. As I call the name of the previous winner, if there is someone representing them on stage, or them themselves on stage, please stand. 1971, we had Frida Marty. 1972, Roy Finn. 1973, Edgar Shergens. 1974, Dixie Davis. 1975, Doc Hickerson. 1976, Vic Weisenberger. 1977, Clyde Walters. 1978, Charles Borders. 1979, Earl Bettinger. 1980, Noah Neifert. 1981, Arnold Malzer. 1982, Charles Schreiber Sr. 1983, Clarence Schultz. 1984, Jerry Stefanago. 1985, Doc Kessner. She's got her fan club back there. 1986, Frank Clemens. 1987, Tony Papano. 1988, Hugh Thrasher. 1989, Otto Aldrich. 1990, Imogene Snyder. 1991, James and Mary Hollenden. 1992, Dot and Effie Hickerson. 1993, Paul Ziegelgruber. 1994, Ruth and Owen Hinton. 1995, Mary Ruth Heck. 1996, Goldie Simpson. 1997, Amos and Jeanette Rippey. 1998, Michael Rutherford. 1999, Fred Smith Jr. 2000, Jean Ress. 2001, Glenn and Grace Catahenry. 2002, Ruth Ann Werner. 2003, Louis Highcamper. 2004, Betty Gunn. 2005, then Mayor Gail Strazel. 2006, Carl and Jeannie Champion. 2007, Pat Crawford. 2008, Lee Brown. 2009, James Whitmer. 2010, Chris Kale. 2011, Rebecca Finn. 2012, Tony Hollenden. 2013, Bill Goffnett. 2014, Joan Hess. And adding to that list, 2015 will be Al Hauenstein. Now, a little bit of history, like I said, on the award. The Tell City Historical Society has been honoring a distinguished member of the community during the Schweitzer Fest for 45 years now. The president of the Historical Society will appoint a 3-person committee that will choose who the distinguished citizen is. Distinguished citizens are nominated by citizens of the community by mailing in or just bringing to the Historical Society, and that committee then chooses a distinguished citizen for that year. The committee uses the following criteria for selecting the winner. It's an individual who has accepted Tell City as his or her community, whether by birth or adoption, and has had benefited our community. It's also an individual who has accomplished noteworthy activities either by employment, civic organizations, committees, volunteer services, and or government representation. It's also an individual who has unselfishly worked for the betterment of others and having an enthusiastic mental attitude towards the community. An individual who has shown dedication to the pride of our community by their actions. Now, I guess I would definitely say Al qualifies for all those things. But some great things about Al, Al has been around for a long time in this community. He knew Alexander Great before he was great, right? That was something they said in the play, so I kind of stole that. One interesting thing about Al that he told me one time is he actually talked to Civil War soldiers. Now, I hardly doubt there's anybody out there today that I know that's talked to a Civil War soldier, and I think that's pretty cool, Al. Do you remember the guy? Yeah. So.
I didn't say much. Just said hi.
Just said hi? Oh, that counts. That counts. Now, I was born in 1920. The population in 1920, according to the census, was 4,086 people. 2010, there's 7,292, according to the 2010 census. There's a lot of things Al has seen change through his life. In the 1920s, Tell City really wasn't past 12th Street, so that whole area has developed. We were primarily a woodworking manufacturing community back then. Think about cars back then. Back then, cars barely drove. I mean, they had heaters in it, but no air conditioning. Nowadays, cars can park themselves, drive themselves just about. Telephones, of course, they all had cords back then, and you had to call an operator to get out to talk to anybody. We all have cell phones now. Very few of us have home landlines. We don't have to call an operator to talk to anybody. We just grab our phones, dial some numbers, and there they are. There was no computers. A couple other things in the 1920s. What invented was the pop-up toaster. Some things, that we all take for granted nowadays that Al has had the opportunity to see change through his life. You can only imagine what the future holds for us, the different things that have changed and where we'll be. So now I would like to invite Ken Rowland, a long family friend of the Hauenstein family, up. He's going to introduce Al and tell a little bit more about him.
A little higher here. I received a call to see if I'd be interested in speaking about Al, who is receiving the Distinguished Citizen Award. Before I accepted this challenge, I thought to myself, what did Al do to deserve this honor? I haven't been around for 95 years, so I don't know everything about Al, but let me think. They're on here. First thing that comes to mind is that this man left Purdue to join our military. Join, not to get drafted. Served in the Navy on the USS Chauncey and was in harm's way numerous times through the war. Sadly, at age 95, he is one of the few left in that elite group. Okay, that's a good start. Al and Kathleen, his wife of forever, has raised 6 of the nicest children who have all grown to be successful adults. Those children have created businesses and helped the ones they worked for grow and prosper. They have also, in turn, raised their own little group of Hauensteins and Nancy's and all others, and they have all led to become good citizens. And I think Al probably had something to do with that. So we've got a couple generations there to thank for some really good individuals in our country. That makes number 2. Al took over his father's clothing business and expanded it by offering new items. One thing that comes to mind is his silk screening business. He and his son John traveled all over southern Indiana and Kentucky, selling T-shirts to bars and restaurants and other attractions around there, and brought money back into our community that way and provided employment for a number of individuals. Some of them their first jobs. I'd see them back there slapping that ink back and forth in the heat, and Al running the whole show back there. And then later on with John's help, and that when John joined and really became an active part of the business. In his late 70s, when most people were thinking about kicking back and relaxing, he started Downtown Storage, again along with John. And that business took several unproductive lots and he erected buildings on them, which added to our city's tax base, greatly, and gave local residents a service that obviously was needed because it's been expanding to how many buildings now? Almost 400 units, so that's pretty impressive there. Al was recently honored on his 95th birthday, and I was amazed to see the large percentage of individuals who had worked for Al over the years come in to honor this man. And over the years, a number of them have told me one of the greatest things they learned from Al was that he demanded a good work ethic. And this work ethic that Al demanded of them and treated them fairly led them to prosper in their own endeavors later on. And they attribute Al to, a lot of their success. So I think we're up to 3 right now. Al's always been in various community organizations such as the JCs, Kiwanis, Band Boosters, I gotta read this, I can't remember all these, VFW, Barbershoppers, Community Theater, Historical Society, and the local Chamber of Commerce. He ran or assisted in programs that built parks, bought our fluoride treatment system, and created the museum we enjoy. And Al was on one of the original committees, the city centennial celebration, was instrumental in that, and you can see what's grown of that effort they put in with our Tell City Schweitzerfest. He is even, at his own expense, had his building surveyed to replace the flood readings that used to be on the old Woodcrafters. And I see a lot of people new to the community or just passing through and everything stop and take a look at that, and kind of gives people a perspective of what the city has gone through in those floods. And it's an interesting part of Tell City history that Al picked up and paid for himself and brought to the whole community. So I believe we're up to 4 now. We're getting up there. Al would always be one to give his time to others without expecting anything in return. He would clear the sidewalks. I remember a kid seeing him clearing the sidewalks with his tractor, going up and down to save some of the other merchants' backs whenever the snow would hit the thing. And he might have tore up a couple sidewalks too, but we're going to forgive him for that. Al and I had a mutual interest in flying. And I saw Al spend countless hours teaching young and old, men and women, how to fly. And he always refused. He would never accept a dime of compensation from any of these people. And I know that he went through considerable expenses obtaining his instructor's license and maintaining his instructor's license from the FAA. But he did that all out of his generosity of his own heart. And so, does anybody keep count? I think we're at 5 now. Al has been a long-time member of the EUCC. He's been a regular helper at Sunday school and a member of the choir, although hopefully he's a backup singer. I've heard him kind of hum a few times, sing a few things when we're on some of our little outings together, so yeah, but just all in jest. I'm guessing that he's also been a faithful donor to that organization too, and I'm sure they've appreciated his lifelong membership there, which brings us to 6. Number 7, this is an easy one. Al is one of the most honest persons I know. It's hard to say. You don't run into people like that anymore. He does exactly what he says he'll do. And I bet there isn't a person in the crowd who knows a time when Al stretched the truth for his benefit. As I said early, Al and I had a passion for flying. When I returned home in 1983, after living in New York, he introduced me to soaring gliding. It's a hobby of flying there. We spent a lot of hours driving back and forth, and these trips were filled with conversations and numerous topics and about people. And I can honestly say I never heard Al say a disparaging word about any person, even though I knew that they may have let him down or, not fulfilled promises they made to him. But he never belittled them. He never, said anything bad about him. But really, the only people I can really remember him saying anything bad about was politicians. Present company excluded, of course. But he usually said, well, that's really when he called a politician or felt a politician was acting in his own behalf instead of the nation's behalf or anything. He's really pretty hard on legislators a lot. So I heard a lot of the bad things about some of those. But I also on those little drives took the opportunity to, give me advice on how to conduct my life, my business, my finances. These were the same lessons that my father were trying to beat through my head. But, being a 20-something-year-old kid who knew everything, you just don't listen to your father. But Al was a friend. And just a little bit of those things he told me, I think, sunk in. So I'm just got to say I'm really grateful for that. And that is why I accepted this honor. And I feel honored to be chosen to award this thing to Al, who is my friend and my dad to Merchant. Thank you, Al.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present our 2015 Distinguished Citizen Award winner, Al Hauenstein.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I'm certainly honored to receive this.
Would you like to sit down now?
Outstanding. I want to thank the Historical Society and Chris and Ken Rowland in particular. I didn't know he liked me that well. It is an honor for me to be here. And the thing I'd like to do next is introduce my family. My daughter Carol over here, and my first child, my middle daughter Nina, behind me here, her husband Tony, who helped in the surveying. I don't think I paid him anything to put that flood sign up on the building down there. Maybe I should have. My son John and his wife Rhonda and their daughter Erica. Also Andrew and my grandson. Where's Andrew? Back here. Okay. And a cousin, Karen Marcroft. And I would like to thank my wife, who is not here tonight, being by my side for the past 24 years. She is at Oakwood and unable to attend. Thank you all, family. I love you all. going to drop into some old-time stuff about Old Tell City, which I have a little better memory, more memory further back, not better, but further back than most. My grandfather, Heinrich Alf, came from Germany as a young man. The day he landed in America, he decided to call this his birthday. The rest of his life, he celebrated his birthday on the day he came to America. He was a furniture maker, a product of the system in Germany, the apprentice system in Germany in those days. And when he came here, he ended up being the plant manager of the Tell City Furniture Factory, which was the largest factory in Tell City for some time. He married my grandmother, Anna Kay. Anna Kay came over from Germany with her parents. She was a child. They came up the Mississippi River on a boat. And in the old days, there was no way to carry the money from they sold their farm in Prussia. The man had, Joachim, had his money sewed in his clothes. It was the only way to do it. Somewhere up the Mississippi River, I presume one night, he was lured onto Jack, stabbed, his money is taken from his clothes, his body thrown in the river. The mother had a hard time for a while, but then with 2 kids, she had 3, the infant died. She married a German carpenter. They came to Tell City to help found the city and build new homes. My grandfather, Jacob Hauenstein, came from Switzerland with his parents at the age of 12. Jacob learned the horse and saddle business and opened his own store in Tell City in 1866. It was in a building just the other side of the Freezer Fresh restaurant. This was the beginning of Hauenstein's Incorporated, still a business in the 4th generation. My father and mother met here in Tell City. They were both Tell Cityans. They courted in a horse and buggy. Some people had cars, but they didn't. And they went on to have 4 children, both with the salt of the earth, hardworking, good people. Tell City has been a great place for business, family, and past and present. On behalf of my wife and family, I would like to thank all the people of Tell City for 95 wonderful years. And I'll put in a plug for my son. Visit his store down there. He has it fixed up, full of useful and stylish clothes. He has it well displayed, better than I ever did. And if you look around, there are a lot of things around there that you may be interested in. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate the time. Hope you have many years here too.
At this time, can I please have our Mayor Barbara Ewing on stage? We're going to light the apple.
if you could please join me for just a moment here. On behalf of Tell City, and I promise no political jokes at this point, but on behalf of Tell City, congratulations. We are so happy, we are so blessed that you and Kathleen chose Tell City as your home to raise your family and invest in this community. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I would like to ask Al at this time to please join me at our Big Red Apple, where Al will officially light the apple, which will stay lit until we welcome in 2016. Can you walk over that way, John?